The dark sky is illuminated by the lights of the city of Los Angeles.
Light
Tony Cook, astronomical observer of Griffith Observatory, standing in front of a giant telescope indoors.
pollution is probably the most challenging issue facing observing the sky that we have, because most
Visitors walking up and down on an outside staircase in Griffith Observatory.
people don't really know what it is. It's just
Time-lapse of visitors coming and going to watch the city of Los Angeles skyline and the dark sky.
an experience that you're denied, so you can't tell what you're missing.
Large groups of visitors are taking pictures and viewing the sunset in an outside terrace against the Hollywood sign and mountains.
The mission of the observatory is to take
Large black and white observation tower in Griffith Observatory.
people out of their everyday life and put them in a completely different mind
Visitors in an outside terrace next to a wall with a sign that reads Griffith Observatory.
space so that they
Telescope in the ledge of the terrace wall against visitors walking through the outside terraces.
think about bigger thought.
Griffith Observatory against the city of Los Angeles.
As light polluted as our sky is,
Mark Pine, Deputy Director of Griffith Observatory, with the city of Los Angeles in the background.
you can get a lot out of the idea that you can look through a
Time-lapse of people viewing through telescopes surrounded by mountains and desert vegetation as the sun sets and the dark night sky appears.
telescope at Jupiter or Saturn or the moon, and you can see it in a way that you could
Woman viewing from a telescope at night.
never have imagined before, and that transcends seeing it as a picture.
Fades into black. Tall building lit up at night against the dark sky. Cars driving through a highway passing in front of a skyline with lit up buildings against a dark sky.
What the city is in the process of doing, and
Mark Pine appears on screen again.
it's a long-term activity, is converting all of the city's streetlights, for which the city has responsibility, so that they are
An empty highway lit up by streetlights at night in front of the skyline of the city of Los Angeles. Text on screen reads, courtesy of the City of Los Angeles Bureau of Street Lighting.
lights that are shielded toward the sky and that point down to the extent humanly possible, and that are LEDs, which reduces the power significantly.
Mark Pine appears on screen again.
The future with respect to light pollution, I think, is actually kind of positive, because cities that have no incentive to necessarily care about light pollution care, and Los Angeles is one of them. And so lots
View of the city of Los Angeles illuminating the dark sky framed by a parking garage opening.
of cities are getting on the bandwagon that
Mark Pine appears on screen again.
says, there are consequences associated with having daylight during the night.
Fades into black. Painted mural of a desert lizard lit up by white lights against a dark sky.
There are things we can do.
Tony Cook appears on screen again.
One could put in the right kind of
Series of lights outside of buildings illuminating the area against a dark sky.
lights, or sensors and things to turn them off when they're not needed. Shielding lights is important,
Street light illuminates the area against a dark sky.
but for somebody to do that, it has
Tony Cook appears on screen again.
to be worthwhile to them.
Fades into black. Time-lapse of stars moving across the night sky behind the entrance sign of Joshua Tree National Park.
Luckily, of course, folks have our national
Stars and Milky Way moving across the night sky behind a Joshua Tree silhouette.
parks, and a lot of those are places you can see the night sky, and there's amenities there. People can get out into nature.
Time-lapse of stars moving across the night sky behind a glowing camping tent next to a Joshua Tree and a boulder pile.
And I'm hoping they get out of their tents at night and look up to the skies, because they're far from our cities, and you can still see the Milky Way. You can still
Dr. David Reitzel, astronomical lecturer of Griffith Observatory, standing in front of a planet exhibit inside.
see meteor showers, and you can experience the Perseid meteors that inspired me to become an astronomer yourself. You just bring out a sleeping bag and maybe
Time-lapse of lit-up campfire with several campers moving around a campsite at night surrounded by large boulder piles and desert vegetation.
a cot or a lounge chair, lay down, and take in the night sky.
Fades into black. Time-lapse of the sun setting in a Joshua Tree forest and the night dark sky taking over with stars moving across the sky.
Ancient times,
Mark Pine appears on screen again.
people would look at the sky because their lives depended on it. And now we don't need that.
Time-lapse of stars moving across the night sky with a yellow hue behind a Joshua Tree.
But the sky still is the place that you look to answer some of those fundamental questions. Who are we? Why are we here?
Time-lapse of clouds rolling in and out, covering the starry night sky behind a Joshua Tree forest and a large boulder pile.
How did any of this come to be? Even in the vastness of the universe that we now know exists, there is a place for us, and we live in one of the most exciting times where we can actually understand that place.
Tony Cook appears on screen again.
Those of us who are concerned about it getting masses of people
Time-lapse of lit-up campsites surrounded by large boulder piles against a starry night sky.
to a dark sky is
Time-lapse of stars moving across the dark sky behind the silhouettes of Joshua trees.
the only way you can make people aware of it.
Tony Cook appears on screen again.
And then hopefully they'll fight then to preserve it.
Fades into black. Time-lapse of stars moving across the dark sky behind the Joshua tree. Text on screen reads, "Thank you, Mark Pine, Tony Cook, David Reitzel, Griffith Observatory, Ranger Beth Huddick." Time-lapse of a blurred starry sky and city lights behind a silver dollar cholla cactus. Text on screen reads, "Producer, Kathy Bell, Jasmira Bonoan, Hannah Schwabi. Camera, Hannah Schwabi, Glauco Puig Santana, Brad Sutton, Jasmira Bonoan, Leon Law. Edit, Jasmira Bonoan, Hannah Schwabi." Time-lapse of a blurred dark sky behind a desert cactus. Text on screen reads, "Additional footage, Los Angeles skyline, Zachary Childers, https://vimeo.com/Zachary A. Childers, Griffith Observatory, Los Angeles, CA. Randy Perry, https://vimeo.com/udigel. Additional images, Los Angeles Bureau of Lighting." Time-lapse of stars moving across the dark sky behind the Joshua tree. Text on screen reads, "Music underway, Akeem Berenz, www.freesound.org/people/situniman/ Autumn Leaf with Violins, http://freesound.org/people/elysium/ Feelings of Twilight Under the Stars, http://freesound.org/people/shadydave/ Floating Synth Melody, http://freesound.org/people/lemoncreme/ Followed by text on screen reading. For more information, visit https://www.nps.gov/jaotr/learn/nature/lightscapes-and-sky.htm. Fades into black. National Park Service arrowhead appears. Fades into black. Text on screen reads, "Get social, www.nps.gov/jotr," with Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter icons.